Welcome back to the channel. If you're into EV stocks and market-moving insights, you're in the right place. Today, we've got some eye-opening updates around Lucid Motors that you won't want to miss. Let's jump right in. Let's dive into the latest updates around Lucid Motors, and there's quite a bit to unpack today. At the moment, Lucid stock is showing a modest gain, up by about 1.08%. The price has been bouncing between $2.54 at the low end and $2.66 at the high end throughout the trading session. What's also worth noting is that trading volume is on the lighter side. Only about 50.9 million shares have been exchanged so far, while the daily average sits closer to 109 million. That signals some hesitation in the EV sector, particularly among companies that are not yet turning a profit. This video is for informational and educational purposes only. It is not financial or investment advice. If you decide to invest, please do your own research. Your money, your decision. Some of the familiar names in that category like NIO are under pressure, and Rivian has dipped by around 2.5%. Now that drop wasn't triggered by a downgrade, but rather by analysts discussing a fair value price target of $13. Which seems to have put off some investors. Meanwhile, Lucid appears to be taking cues from broader market momentum. Despite the lack of any major announcements, no SEC filings or press releases, Lucid is in the green today. So what's driving the movement? Honestly, it's the broader market doing the heavy lifting, likely influenced by headlines involving Trump from over the weekend that are sparking a rally. But here's something a bit deeper I wanted to explore. I mentioned this theory back in early 2024, and it's beginning to come back into focus. There's a mountain of capital just sitting in money market accounts right now. We're talking over $7.24 trillion, which is an all-time high. That's a significant sign of caution from big money, even though economic indicators have shown improvement. So what's the significance of this? If the current political friction, things like tariffs and economic policies, begins to ease, we could start to see a rotation of capital back into equities. And if the U.S. government starts addressing the national debt more seriously in the coming months, that could accelerate the transition. If this happens, and if Lucid has improved its operational stability or edges closer to profitability, it could benefit enormously from that shift. Think of how things played out during 2020 to 2021. Investor enthusiasm skyrocketed, and stocks exploded. A repeat of that kind of euphoria isn't out of the question. Now back to the present moment, short interest remains a critical factor. Just today, 147,000 Lucid shares were returned by short sellers. That indicates a bit of a retreat or shift in strategy. Currently, about 28.7% of Lucid's float is being shorted, which translates to roughly 354.74 million shares. Looking at the trend over time, shorts have been very calculated, adding pressure on days when Lucid shows signs of strength, but otherwise not making dramatic moves. This calculated approach seems more like market manipulation than organic trading behavior. Lucid's momentum is being held back just when it looks like it's about to break out. So the hope is that something big is brewing behind the scenes, something that could catalyze real investor excitement and institutional buying. As of today, though, we're not seeing that institutional commitment just yet. For context, there have only been 4 notable secondary market trades over $100,000 today. 2 were buys, 1 was a sell, and 1 was neutral. Even in the dark pool activity, transactions that are usually hidden from the public, high volume is thin, which tells us algorithmic trading is likely playing the dominant role in today's activity. Moving over to the options market, things are a bit more upbeat. We're seeing 502,000 call contracts compared to just 67,000 puts, which reveals some underlying bullish sentiment. About 49% of all option activity has a positive bias, suggesting that traders believe Lucid could push higher this week. Bulls are aiming for Lucid to rise above $3, while bears are hoping it drops below $2.50. Right now, it's sitting at about $2.59. Sandwiched between key technical levels. The $2.51 mark has proven to be solid support today, while the next major resistance level is around $2.69, close to today's high. Looking forward, if major economic indicators like Nvidia's earnings, GDP numbers, and the PCE data all come in strong, it could fuel a much-needed rally not just for Lucid, but across the broader market. That could be the tipping point for a significant shift in investor behavior. Now, let's be realistic here. Any massive rotation of funds out of money markets into equities or crypto isn't going to happen overnight. This would be a slow, steady shift likely unfolding over the course of a year. But even that slow momentum could lift undervalued or suppress stocks like Lucid, especially if they show progress operationally. There hasn't been much buzz around Lucid in terms of media coverage today. However, one article caught my attention. It discussed the idea that Lucid might be a smart buy ahead of August 4th, which is when their next earnings report is expected. The article highlighted that Lucid may be ramping up efforts toward profitability, and from a valuation perspective, the stock could be a bargain at current levels. That said, there's still a lot of silence from Lucid's side. No updates, no teasers, not even speculative news circulating. That makes this one of the quietest periods for the company in recent memory. It almost makes you wonder, are they working on something big behind closed doors? Lucid CEO Peter Rawlinson had previously hinted at a major marketing push around their Gravity SUV. Some believed this might have been the Geneva Open event, but if that's all it was, it didn't make much of a splash. So either there's more coming, or that campaign hasn't been rolled out yet. At the technical level, Lucid is pressing up against the 100-day moving average, which is acting like a gatekeeper. If the stock manages to close above that, currently sitting around $2.61, we might see a run toward the 200-day moving average, similar to the kind of rally we saw in mid-May. But once again, that kind of breakout will depend on strong catalysts. So it all boils down to this. If the earnings from Nvidia are impressive, if the GDP report beats expectations, and if the PCE data confirms continued strength in consumer spending, then Lucid and other growth stocks could see serious upward momentum. So what's your take on all this? Are you loading up on Lucid shares at these prices? Holding? Selling? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. As you know, I've been closely covering Lucid on this channel, and this is easily one of the calmest periods I've observed. Something might be brewing, we just don't know what yet. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. Your support helps us continue to bring you in-depth market analysis. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.